house has been a complete work in progress since we bought it about 3 years ago, and I love all of the progress that we've made. But one thing that I've always really wanted to do is turn our office, which is basically just a catch-all junk room where I happen to work, into a beautiful home library slash music room. I'm so excited to say that I've finally done it. So I'm going to take you along on a bit of the process of doing it, and then let's do a bookshelf tour. So let's go.
Are you ready to shop?
This is so random, but I wanted to go to IKEA.
You've actually wanted to go for so long, and so today we finally took the plunge, and we are at IKEA, and you're going to get
bookcases. So this is the current state of my bookshelves. They are a complete mess, a complete disaster. My desk is also always a mess. Hannah Witten, I love Hannah Witten's videos. I think that she's great. She right now, just 5 hours ago, released a reorganizing my home bookshelves after moving out of my studio video, which is just the perfect thing to put on while I start with this whole thing. Shelves are empty. And guys, I have so many books. The shelves are up. I didn't really document the process last night of me getting these actually adhered to the wall, but they're very sturdy. I made sure each shelf has 2 brackets. These shelves are stuck together, but I'm going to also stick these shelves together just to make it as sturdy as I can. Now comes the hardest part for me, and that is, how am I going to sort these books? How am I going to organize them? I've always been a organized by color girly and done like a rainbow bookshelf. Over on my Book Buddies broadcast channel over on Instagram, I actually asked you all what you thought I should do for the shelves and how you thought I should sort them, and I'm shocked to say you all agree and I should just stick with the color. But the thing with sorting by color is I have to break up series because it's very rare that a series sticks to one color theme. So that's why I played around with sorting by genre and doing it more like a library and having like poetry, fantasy, nonfiction, biographies, LGBTQ+, romance, like everything in its own section, like its own shelf. But you guys said color. I also could sort by author, but that seems like a lot of work alphabetizing them, or I could alphabetize them by title. There's some options. So maybe we'll do color, but I want to keep my TBR separate. This is a mess. In taking everything off of the bookshelves, I did keep my TBR separate. It's not just this one pile. It's this pile, and you can see there's no one here and a smaller one there. Here's a good angle to show you that this is the floor, and I went all the way up to the ceiling times 3. So we actually have a ton of space to work with. I'm thinking maybe the TBR is gonna go along the bottom shelves in rainbow. I guess let's start on that. That's where we'll start. I'm feeling very overwhelmed with this whole thing. But I'm trying to enjoy the process. I am going to put on some booktube, some other people's videos, not my own. I could never watch myself back. I actually couldn't even edit videos. Allie and I have been doing YouTube for quite a while. I couldn't even edit our videos for years because I was pretty ruthlessly bullied when I was younger for my voice. I don't know if it's weird. I was under the impression that I had the weirdest voice ever, and it was so annoying. It's what I always heard growing up. So I have never liked watching video of myself back. Now watch myself back enough to edit videos, but I could never be one of those people that watches my own videos back in the future just for funsies. That's not me. So I'm gonna watch other people's booktube videos and get to organizing. Starting in the far corner with white is just what makes the most sense to me in my head. So it's also a great time to look at my TBR and realize all of the books that I have on it. Like, there's some goodies. The Hobbit, the spine is white, so here we go. Do we have books all going the same way? Like, do we like do some piles? Is everything vertical? This is way too much for me to think. What color is this? When there's a bunch of colors, where does it go? Black, white. All of these three that I picked up are all nonfiction. I haven't been reading very much nonfiction lately. Go. Okay, this is working. Again, what color is this, guys? What color? What color is this? Where's that gonna go? I don't even know. I have so many books that I've been meaning to read. Oh my gosh. Should I sort these in order? Okay. Look at how nice these turned out. I am in love. As you can see, I did 3 Billy bookcases all the way up to the ceiling. I thought that I was gonna have not enough books for this, and instead I realized just how many books I do have. As you can see, I did decide to sort by color, and I did keep my TBR separate like I said I would. I thought we could do a complete tour. I could show you some of my favorite books, and we could just chat books and my bookshelf together. I feel like there's not a ton to report on the black books that line the top of my bookshelf. They're mostly fantasies and thrillers. I actually don't love the blacks. They just feel so dark and drab to me compared to all of the other fun colors. And I have bad news, guys. I've been working really hard on reading my physical TBR, and with that, books are being moved up from my TBR shelves along the bottom to the colored section, and the black is now full, and it's so full that I've started just setting some on this shelf because I don't know what to do with them. So I'm gonna have to reorganize, I think, this whole bookshelf. So this is kind of a silly time to film this. This like brown beige section of books, I think these were originally not these colors, but now they're so old that they have turned very discolored. I have some textbooks, just a couple really old books. I actually collect really old books, and I don't know why, but it's just like this urge I have when I find a really old book being donated or at a thrift store. If it's really old and I feel drawn to it, then I need to have it as part of my like library setup. I'm afraid that they're going to become arts and crafts projects, and I don't want that for some of these. So now they live on my shelf and I don't actually read them. So it's a little weird. This one is so old. I want to do a complete old book tour for you guys, and we can talk about all the old books I have on my bookshelves because a lot of them are classics, a lot of them aren't, and are weird topics. It just could be a really fun video, but I wanted to let you guys know that on December 25th, Christmas, 1889, this book was given as a Christmas gift. Isn't that crazy? I also have this super old book in this section called Bible Myths that used to belong to a library. You can see right here, it is like kind of embossed on it. It says Mercantile Library. It has this little library sorter sticker, has this sticker, and it's also been marked, like kind of like hole punched in here. And this is from 1883. It's actually from a library in Philadelphia. So that's so weird. I don't know how it ended up in Halifax, and then I ended up getting it at a thrift store. I also have some really pretty versions of classics that have never been read. Look at that spine. I'm weirdly attached. I just think they're so pretty. Like, look at this. This one is Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. And then we have a bunch more old books and this little perfume bottle that belonged to my mom. Belongs not because she's passed away, but because she's decided to give it to me. The white section here is almost entirely non-fiction books. There's a lot of books about being vegetarian, being vegan. There's a couple Walt Disney World planning guides from like the early 2000s. I'm sure those are very out of date, but you know, I love Disney. But you can see that this white section is like completely full, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when I have more white books to add to it. Over here we have some more textbooks. I have a lot of my university texts still that I've held onto that I really like. Also, how pretty is this pillar candle? I love it. I have a few different university texts, like on this shelf I have one on genocide, I have the child psychology book. I have held on to a lot of my textbooks just because I really like them. So that's one too. I don't know, I just feel weird letting go of them. So they live on my bookshelf. Red, we start to have a few more modern books. I feel like there's a lot of Sarah J Maas on this shelf and a few more texts and textbooks. The design of experiments in neuroscience, that's what I studied in university. Honestly, what am I ever going to need that for? I don't know why I'm holding on to it. Speaking of old books, this is my encyclopedia collection. It actually only makes it to the ends. These belong to my grandfather. He was the oldest son of 11 kids, and I feel like he would have loved to do something academic, but he needed to provide for his family and went into construction, but he really prioritized like learning and reading, and he was always doing crossword puzzles, and he really wanted to own an encyclopedia set back in the 70s. He could only afford up until M. I love these. These were on my mom's bookshelf when I was growing up, and I asked if I could have them for here just because they've been put in storage in the basement, and now I have this little reminder of him on my bookshelf. These floors are so crooked. I'm struggling to find a spot that I can set you. I have this beautiful little blown glass perfume bottle that I keep on my shelf here, and the little story behind it is I fell in love with it when I was a teenager and asked my mom for it for Christmas, and she was supposed to like sneak off and buy it and told me to go wait somewhere, and I didn't listen, and I saw her buying it, and she is stubborn and held her ground and said, no, you're not getting it because you ruined your Christmas gift for yourself. And I didn't get it until I got married. When I got married, she finally gave it to me, so good for her for standing her ground. Oranges, we have some more textbooks like Understanding Human Sexuality and Disability Management, another book from my genocide course, plus a One Direction book, because how could you not? I wanted to show you this Anna Karenina book is from the same collection as the Around the World in 80 Days that I showed you, but this used to be the same color as that book, and it must have been left in the sun from its previous owner, and look at how discolored it is. There's a perfect example. Now it's like a light orange. This one too, you can really see that's the color it used to be. Isn't that shocking? I have a lot of blues. We actually have 2 blue bookshelves because, I don't know, a lot of books are blue. I feel like there's not a ton to report here except this book. It's kind of written by my mother-in-law. So for Christmas, Allie and I got her parents this thing called Storyworth, and every week for a year they would get an email prompt to write a little essay on whatever it said. For instance, this one says, what qualities do you most value in your spouse or partner? Who's been one of the most important people in your life? Did you consider any other careers? How did you choose? It's basically just filled to the brim with all of this information about Allie's mom. There's another one on the shelf with Allie's dad, and I just think it's so special. This isn't an ad. This is something we just spent money and bought, but then at the end of the year it gets bound. You can get additional copies, so it'll be nice to get some for their other grandkids. But won't that be so special for our kids for when they're older to have all of these stories in their grandparents' words? I also just think this is so pretty. The way that this cover is done, I just absolutely love it. Also, a few books on this shelf are some of my favorite like modern books, like Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love that book. The same with Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. It's so good. Also on this shelf, I have the second Bridgerton book, only the second one. Do I need to read them all in order? I want to know. I really only want to read Colin and Penelope's book because that's the story that just came out on Netflix and I've been obsessed with it. This shelf is a little random because it's also not kind of a color thing, but this is all children's books, like really old children's books. I don't know where we've honestly got a lot of these. I think they were gifts from like my siblings that they thrifted and honestly probably found in dumpsters because they like to dumpster dive. Anyway. That's what this is because my kids are 19 months old. These books are all old in paper and too fragile for them to play with right now. So they live right here along with some binoculars that I thought belonged to Allie's grandfather. Turns out she thrifted them, so they don't need to be here. A beautiful little dried flower bouquet. And this amazing candle that says R.I.P. Mom's Last Nerve. A lot of my oldest books are green. 8 of these books are like super old. Also, how beautiful is this copy of Pride and Prejudice? And then I also have Great Expectations in the same binding. Oh, so pretty. So a lot of my old books are really random, like super random themes. Like this one, just a nice plain green book, but it is about inns in England. Also, I have these thrillers here, and they all look the same. We have this one, Greenwich Park, again, the green, the spines especially, the other mothers, the green spine with the overgrown leaves. Is that not so weird? I have this Round of Glass series with these covers. I got them right before the new, like, super kind of trendy modern covers came out, and I'm jealous of those covers because these ones I find cringy. And when it comes to my yellow section, I don't have a ton of yellow books. It's just not a super common color that you see. I have, again, just one single book from a series. This is Sweet Magnolia's novel, but it's not the first one in the series. I have a really beautiful gold wick trimmer that sits here, and I have some book stickers in here and bookmarks. And how cute is this little container? I love it. My second blue area. I do have this second blue bookshelf. Story time about my hymnary. So this is a, I believe, religious songbook. Why do I have it? Great question. I am not religious. So the story behind this is I was on drugs. I had just had a medical procedure done and was high as a kite. I had an egg retrieval done, which in some places they put you out completely, like a surgery, and it's painful, but I had what they call twilight sedation. So I was kind of awake, kind of not. I was just extremely, extremely loopy, and they gave me like some pretty heavy duty pain meds. And they said to go and do some walking after the procedure to try to get everything flowing and to help me heal better. And I decided that I needed to go to the thrift store to look for old books. And I got my heart set on this one for some reason. And that's the story behind it. I will always remember getting this hymnary, even though the memory is hazy. The pink and purple section is where almost all of my lesbian romance novels live because I guess someone decided that that was a very feminine color scheme. I got this one purely for the color, and it has bookmarks of paper towel from, I guess, really good recipes that people liked. And this person also kept obituaries in it, including one for the author. Wow. More Mennonite country cooking. I have my vintage candle snuffer and my book club candle. I'm actually in this book. Here, planning a fun lesbian wedding. Look at that. That's me and my wife, and then a little like essay that we wrote. Well, basically we just answered their questions, but pretty cool, right? So it's notes on love, essays on life, love, and loss. This right here is my Harry Potter shelf because I apparently have a lot of Harry Potter books. This is not a part of it. It's just there because it's where it sits. But I have the illustrated versions and then my childhood versions. I have doubles of some of them. I have a Harry Potter Hufflepuff candle because that's what I am, and a wand. This shelf is my extra books that I don't know where to put yet, and then things that I am reading or on my monthly TBR, things that I actively want to be dealing with. Over here is cookbooks and photo albums. And the whole bottom is my rainbow sorted TBR shelf. This candle in an oyster shell. It came in the PR package for Carly Fortune's new book, which takes place on Prince Edward Island, which I loved and gave 5 stars. And then I also have this candle. It says, "You are the best thing I ever found on the internet." This vase she got me for my birthday, and then I got some dried lavender that I put in it. I feel like that was all way more detailed than it needed to be. It's cute, right? I'm happy with it. Little bookshelf tour. And then I've put a little reading chair in here that one of the cats is almost always asleep on. And this mirror. This is a very weird thing for it to remind me of, but it reminds me of a sliding ladder that you would have in a library that has a lot of books. I just think it has the perfect home library vibe to it. We have a little bit of a music corner. Our guitar's hanging. We have some plants and then some signed copies of some cassettes, Vance Joy and Oh Wonder and Louis Capaldi. Those are just some autographed things we have. Our baby piano. She is an oldie. She's like 120 years old, but so beautiful. I absolutely love her. I do not play her, but I sit here and sing while my wife plays her. And I wish I could tell you that I was absolutely finished with this room, but I still need to hang some artwork and make my workstation cute. It is not, so I'm not going to show it to you, but it's in here too. I am so happy with how this home library / music room turned out. I think it's so beautiful. I love being in here. My only worry is that where do I go next when it comes to books if I fill these? Do I have to start downsizing? Because I don't want to do that. But for now, it's so perfect. It's beautiful. I love it. It makes me happy. It's lovely having a nice spot to read and play music. And I've been dreaming of this room since we bought this house. And it's just everything I ever wanted. So thanks for watching. I will be back soon with another video. No clue what that'll be yet, so stay tuned.